I trusted too much in Google Maps. Hey guys, it's Gabby. Today, I'm back to talk to you about another life as a millennials topic, which is public transport. I know what you're all thinking. That's gonna be so boring. How can someone make a whole video just talking about public transport? Well, I'm gonna do it because in fact I have a lot to say about public transport because I for one am very used to driving wherever I want, whenever I want. Growing up in a town where you could drive everywhere because you could always get parking, the traffic was never bad, and then coming to the city and trying to drive is just a nightmare. So now I have to rely on public transport to get me around, especially when I go to work, which quite frankly, I'm not too fond of. I'm very much getting used to it now and it's not as bad as when I first started. It all went terribly wrong. I started panicking because my phone said that I was gonna be 15 minutes late on my first day. And I'm pretty lucky in Sydney there's a lot of buses running all the time that I can get. Although, it's nothing compared to the subway in New York or the underground in London. They are amazing. But anyway, we've got what we've got and it does the job. Now, the main reason I decided to make this video was because I had a terrible experience on my very first day of work. I trusted too much in Google Maps.
Sorry, I didn't quite get that.
I know what you're thinking. Why? What a rookie error. That was so silly. Don't trust Google Maps. But I had no idea. I thought I was leaving enough time. So what happened was, my very first day of work, I started at 9 a.m. It's the first day of work. And I'm one of the lucky ones and I only need to get one bus to get to work. I know a lot of other people that have to get trains and buses and they have a much longer commute. So I really have nothing to complain about. Anyway, I had to get one bus from my house and I needed to be there at 9. And I looked up the time and it said like, oh, about 35 minutes. So I was like, great, I'll get on the bus that leaves at 8:20. So that should give me plenty of time. Like it was supposed to take 35 minutes in total. And that included the bus ride getting there and it's another 5-minute walk on top of that. And I was allowing 40 minutes. Great, I should have 5 minutes spare already. That was a mistake. I got on that 8:20 bus and it was running really late and it went really slow and I was sitting on the bus and I was stressing out to the max. I messaged my mum and I was absolutely freaking out and I was like, Mum, what do I do? I'm gonna be so late on my first day of work. What sort of impression is that gonna make? And there was nothing that she could do. There was nothing that I could do, let alone my mum. I don't know why I was telling her. Then she decided to ring me while I was sitting on the bus, but I just couldn't answer it because one, I was sitting on the bus and it was silent and I didn't want to be like, oh my God, I'm gonna be late for my first day of work. And two, I felt that if I was gonna talk about it, I would cry. So I had to hang up on her and just sit and stress and worry, making my first day of work not very enjoyable. But long story short, I got off the bus at like 3 minutes past 9. I rang the receptionist and I was like, oh, I'm coming, I'm on my way, I'm really sorry. And then I made it there and everyone else was still waiting in the lobby. They hadn't even come and got us yet. So it didn't matter in the end, but it was just a lot of unnecessary stress. But it was probably a really good thing to happen because it made me realize really quickly not to trust public transport and that I need to allow a heap more time to get anywhere. So now I get on the 8:04 bus and sometimes that gets me there at like 25 past 8 and sometimes that gets me there at 5 to 9. It really just depends. You never know what's going to happen and that kind of stresses me out a little bit and it's something that I'm not used to because the luxury of a car, if you're going to be late, you just drive a little bit faster, which I guess you can't really do in the city because there's a lot of traffic anyway. I lived out of town when I was at home, so I could drive faster. Shouldn't, but did. But even here, when I was waitressing, it took me 20 minutes to drive to work, and if I was running a little bit late, it didn't really matter because I still had my car and I could still get there. Whereas now, if I'm not ready to walk out of the door at 8 o'clock to get that bus, I am going to 100% miss it. And then how am I getting to work? The other thing I find is our trusty old friend Google Maps really has no faith in humans at all. When I finish work at 5 o'clock, there is a bus that leaves at 5:04. For starters, Google Maps tells me that it's a 6-minute walk from my work to the bus stop. And if I finish work right on 5, I have literally about 20 screens open on my computer. Between Internet Explorers and notes and like the actual programs that we use, there's a few of those, and like my schedule for the day, there is a lot to shut down and I have to log out of things. So as soon as that second hand ticks to 5 o'clock, I'm like frantically closing everything down. Then the whole building is trying to leave at 5 o'clock all at once, and there is only 3 lifts. So I have to join the queue on my floor for starters, and we're on level 2 and there's people above us. So by the time the lift gets to us, it's most of the time already full. So if I can pull off the miracle of shutting everything down on my computer and then actually getting in the lift and getting out of the building, I can do that in a minimum of 2 minutes. That only leaves me 2 minutes to do a 6-minute walk to get to the bus. And that includes crossing a road that you have to wait for the lights and the little man to go ding, 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 ding. So that slows me down sometimes too. And my good old friend Google Maps just has no faith in me and doesn't think that that is possible at all. And really, it shouldn't be. But last week, I did it not 1, not 2, but 3 times. I was very proud of myself because if I miss that bus, the next one doesn't come for another 20 minutes, and 20 minutes waiting for a bus is actually such a long time. So I really try my hardest to get on that bus. But because it's not technically possible for me to get on that bus in that time, Google Maps does not show me that option, which I think is really silly, because now I know that that bus comes at 5:04. But if I didn't, then I would just be strolling along every day and have no idea, when really I can run and get on that bus. Well, not run, I wouldn't run, but walk very briskly and get on that bus and actually make it home in a decent time every day. Another thing about buses, well, city traffic and just how long it takes to get to places, is to drive to work, it takes me 10 minutes. On the bus, I leave an hour. And that's an hour in the morning and an hour at night. And compared to a lot of other people that I work with, I am so lucky that it only takes me about 40 minutes to an hour to get home, because some of them have huge long commutes and I just don't even know how they do that every day, because an hour sitting on a bus is long enough. And I always think that I'm gonna use my time wisely, but I never do. I sit there and watch Netflix most of the time. And every single day I'm like, oh, I should take my laptop and keep editing videos, because I just have no other time to edit videos. And I'm sitting on the bus for 2 hours a day doing nothing, but I still do nothing. Even if I can sit there and plan some videos, that would be great. And I always say it and I never do it, and it's really, really bad. But I feel like everyone does that. Like, who actually sits on the bus and does work? If you sit on the bus and do work, then I am very impressed with you. Good on you, keep doing that. You're amazing, and I should really utilize my time more wisely. Now, I've been talking very negatively about buses, but there are some really, really good things about buses and trains as well. Like going out at night and you just don't have to drive, so you can drink, and you don't have to worry about how you're getting home because the bus is always there. And in the city especially, where there's not much parking anywhere, it's always good to catch the bus. So then you don't have to worry about parking or getting a parking ticket or any of that, really. Another problem is if you go shopping, and if you're someone like me and loves shopping, I always buy a whole lot of stuff, and you can't really carry it home on the bus. Like, I never want to take all my groceries home, and I know people do, because a lot of people in the city probably don't even have cars, but I don't like carrying my bags on the bus. So I always try to drive when I go grocery shopping or clothes shopping, but I have to plan that out really well, because if I do catch the bus, then I can't buy a lot of stuff. So that's probably a good thing. I should probably catch the bus more often to stop me from doing that. I guess also there is Ubers, but they cost a bit more. But buses are a little bit expensive too. Cost me like $4 to get to work and $4 to get home. And then if you add that up in a year, that's like a lot of money. But it's cheaper than an Uber, I guess. I do like to get Ubers though if I go out and I just couldn't be bothered to wait for the bus. But yeah, most of the time I use the bus, so I can't really diss the bus. And trains are good too, I do really enjoy trains. Now, before I go, I have one question that I really want you guys to help me with. So 2 stops before I get off in the afternoon, there is like 50 people that get on the bus, and it just like packs up. It's absolutely chockers, and I always have a seat because I get on right at the beginning of the stop, so I have a nice seat by the window. But I never know if I should get up earlier and give my spot away or not, because then 2 stops later I'm like, sorry, excuse me, and I'm like shuffling through the crowd. But also it's 2 stops and I like sitting on the bus, and also most of the time I'm watching Netflix on my phone. So either I don't pay attention or I don't want to stop watching Netflix. But I never know. Every single day in my head I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? But then again, I always stay sitting down anyway. It's just something that I think about every day. Alrighty, I think that's about all I have to say for buses and public transport. I hope I haven't bored you to death, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Also, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'm trying to put out new videos every single week, so watch out for those, and I will see you next week. Bye!